All right, working on a 2012 Honda Accord here with the V6 in it. Evidently, he took it to AutoZone a couple days ago, and they told me he needed a battery. Got the battery put in. I guess it was dead or whatever. He got a battery put in, and the next day the battery light came on. So they brought it to me, and we're just doing a quick alternator test here. Got my voltmeter hooked up to it, and we're at 1188 on the charge, and that should be between like 13.5 and 14.5, somewhere in there. So the alternator's not putting anything out. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and put an alternator on this. First thing we're gonna do is disconnect the negative battery cable over there, and then we'll start taking this thing apart. All right, so the first thing I did, I just took off this plastic piece, get it out of the way. It's just two flathead screwdriver, just turn it a little bit and it comes right out. Then we're gonna pull this reservoir out. It just slides in there, just slides down in the bracket. So we're just going to set this out of the way, and then on these I take the fan out. You have 4 10mm bolts. The 2 on the bottom you just have to loosen. This has like a fork on it on the radiator fan, and you can just lift them right out. So take your 4 10 mils out, and we will slide this fan out, and then we'll start going for this. The alternator will come out this way with the fan out. I can't remember if I have to take the brackets out for the radiator and kind of let the radiator come in a little bit or not. We'll have to find out together on that one. So I'm going to go ahead and get 10 millimeter and start taking these out, and then we'll pick it back up. All right, so I went ahead and got the fan out. You can see here on the bottom of the fan, it's got kind of a slots. It's not all the way closed. So all you got to do is loosen those bottom bolts to pull it out. And then you got the connector here. The petcock's right in the way underneath there. I'm not going to take you underneath there. There's a little plastic shield that goes all the way across the car. I only took that about halfway down. There's no reason to take it all the way down, just enough to get it peeled back to get your arm in there. There is a petcock right here that kind of gets in the way of this. It's easier. I took a long screwdriver from the top and disconnected it. If you pull out on this tab, put the screwdriver between there and wedge it, and pull up, it'll release it from this right here, and then you can kind of get your hand in between the petcock. It's kind of hard if you got big hands like me, but you can get your hands in there and pull on that tab and then pull it out, and it comes right out. So you got the 2 10mm bolts on the bottom. Like I said, remove that shield about halfway, take out about 4 or 5 of those pins. It'll come out enough to get your hand in there, and then you got the 2 top 10mm, and that'll put you down pretty close to the alternator here. So I'm going to get you in here on the alternator, and then we'll start taking this loose. Actually, I'll take the bell off next. We'll get the tensioner off, not off, but loosen it, and then we'll start taking this alternator off. All right, so your tensioner is this top pulley right here, 14mm. Just get something on it and pull it towards the back of the engine or towards the windshield, and that'll loosen it up. So now we got, go ahead and take this wiring harness off. You got a 10mm here. You got the 2 that go to the alternator, and then 1 that goes down to the compressor. We're just going to go ahead and take those off and set it off to the side. I'll let you know what size they are. I think it's 12, and then maybe, or 10 and then 12, and then the two regular push clips. But I'll let you know when I get it off. That's 10, the other one's 12. Wow, that's tight for an alternator. So the nut on your alternator is, for the wiring harness over here is 10, and the one on your alternator itself is 12. And I'm going to have to get my head in there to see what I'm doing. That one just pulls out, and then you have one going down towards the compressor. It's going to just clip out. So I'm going to get, you won't be able to see anything, my head will be in the way, but I'll show it to you afterwards. Alright, so I just use a cat claw to push this out, and then you just have a regular clip that goes into your compressor, and you're just going to push on that, and that'll release it. Now on the alternator you got this big blue one, the control, and you just press on that, and it releases it. So that'll get that out of the way. We should only have 2 bolts holding this alternator in. I believe they're both 14, but I'll double check, and then I'll let you know. We got this little bracket on top. We're just going to remove it all the way. There's 12mm bolt goes top of the alternator. I took that one out, and there's one that goes into the aluminum head. It's just a bracket that holds the top of the alternator. It's just 2 bolts. I'm going to go ahead and take the bracket completely out. I'm not going to fight it. I think you need the clearance anyway to pull it up. I don't remember, but since it's right here, it's easy to get to. We're going to pull it all the way out. Looks like that. Then we got one 14mm down at the bottom here. I'm going to go ahead, those are 2 12s on the top, and there's a 14 on the bottom, so I won't be able to show it to you, but I'm going to go ahead and just follow your alternator straight down. There's a big 14 there. That one's got to come loose. Alright, we're going to pull this thing out of here. I'm going to go ahead and move this dipstick tube out, or this dipstick out of the way a little bit. This thing should pull out of here. You see with the fan going, it pulls straight up and straight out. So there's 2 different alternators on this. I think a 110 and 140 or something like that. So I got to figure out which one this is. Go get that, and then we'll pick it back up. All right, I got the new alternator here. This is a 130. There's a 110 and a 130. According to O'Reilly's, the automatic transmissions have 110s and the manuals have 130s. But this is a automatic transmission in this, and I cross-referenced the numbers on the original alternator, and it came back as a 130. So I went ahead and got the 130. So just be aware there is 2 different alternators, and you know, you got to get the right one. So anyway, we'll go ahead and slide this down in there and put this bolt in the bottom and start getting this thing back together. All right, before I got the bottom bolt started in there, before I tighten it, I went ahead and put this bracket in. You don't want to tighten that bottom bolt. It'll be hard to manipulate that alternator where it needs to be. So just get everything hand tight or hand started, and then you can go ahead and tighten everything up. So 14 down there. All right, so I got the bottom one tight. I used a combination. I used a stubby extension at 14 mil, and I was able to get the Milwaukee down in there to get it going, or tighten it up. So now you got the 2 12s at the top here. Milwaukee should have no problem getting in there. And I always, once I get them tight, I always go back over with my, depending on what it is, go back over with my regular ratchet just to make sure. Milwaukee gets them pretty tight, but on like a bracket or something like that, I usually go ahead and turn them a little bit more. Alright, so now we're just going to put the wiring harness back on. That's just snap in place, and then put the fan and the belt back on. We'll be good to go. So I went ahead and plugged everything in, put the 12mm nut back on the alternator. Then we got this 10mm that holds the harness to that bracket. Now all we got left is the belt and the fan. The belt, if you don't take it all the way off, like I didn't, then it should go right back on. Pretty close. You have to look and see the belt diagram. You can go on Google if you don't know the diagram, if you took yours all the way off. This would be a good time to change the belt. The only reason I'm not changing this one is it looks relatively new, probably less than a year old. There's no cracks at all on any of the ribs, and the outside of the belt looks almost brand new. So someone's changed this belt at some point recently, so I'm going to leave this belt alone. I'm not going to change it. Like I said, it's a good time to change it if your belt's older. This car is 9 years old, so at some point someone's already changed it. So I'm going to go ahead and put the belt on, and we'll slide that radiator. If you left your 2 bolts in the bottom, all you're going to do is just slide it into those slots, line it up, and put your 2 nuts on. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that up, and then we'll just test it out and make sure it's working before we send it off. All right, so the fan's back in and that overflow is back in. You can see here we're at 13.8. You want to be about 13.5 to 14.5. I got the air conditioner on, so it's probably a little bit lower than it would be if the AC was off. You know, if you want to test it out, you can put a load on it, turn on your wipers, your AC, and make sure it doesn't go below like 13.5 or so. At idle though, 13.85, 13.9 is fine, especially with the AC on and stuff. So we're good. We're gonna go test drive it. Make sure the belt's on right when you start it up. Just double check that, and then you should be good to go. So this one's good to go. Not too bad of these Hondas with the V6. It looks like it won't come out of there when you first look at it, but you take the fan out and the overflow and just kind of get down in there, you can start to see that it'll come out through the top. So anyway, this one's a fix. We'll get this, take it for a short drive, and then we'll just take it back to the customer. I got another one I got to work on here in a minute. So anyway, thanks for watching. As always, God bless.